All right, folks, what is going on? Happy Friday to you all. I know that we got a lot of people in here on the chat today. My name is Grant Henry. I'm one of the assistant directors of admissions at Mount St. Mary's University, and I want to welcome you all to our Captivating Your Audience, the webinar on the Friday Facts on Writing the College Essay. So I'm going to be your host today, talking to you guys all about the college essay, how to write the perfect college essay, and topics that a lot of us admissions counselors see when we're reviewing applications. Before we begin, I just want to let you guys all know that this is being recorded for future use. So no problem here. It's on speaker view, so you guys will only it's good. You're not going to be recorded for any purposes whatsoever. Just so we can put this up on our website and you guys can see it later on today. So without any further ado, I also want to let you guys all know that there will be a question and answer part at the very end. If you guys have questions, just put them out here in the chat function, okay? Put your questions down here, and then at the very end of the presentation today, I'm going to be able, so as you have questions, write them down, send them into the chat, and I'll be able to answer those effectively whenever we get to the end of the presentation today. Presentation should only last about 25 minutes today, guys, so I hope that you guys have a good time as we go through this. So let's start it off. Let's get going. Captivating your audience, exploring the college essay with me, your host, Grant Henry. So there is a lot to be said about who I am and everything along those lines, but who am I? What do I know? How do I know how to write a good college essay? I'm one of the assistant directors of admissions, like I said before, but over the last 3 years at the Mount, I've actually reviewed over 3,000 applications. And just about a third of those students, maybe even half of those students, choose to submit college essays. So really, I've read about 1,500 essays in my time here at the Mount, and you're actually going to see some of the there's going to be actual snippets, right? There's actually going to be some real life essays that I've taken from my time of reviewing, some good, some bad, that we're going to be able to look over and talking about, really what exactly makes up a good college essay. So let's get started. So you guys are all juniors and senior, rising juniors, rising seniors in high school. You guys are starting your college application processes. For a lot of my rising seniors, this is the time, right? You are halfway through July and a lot of applications start to open up in August. And so you guys are starting to kind of maybe late at night, maybe after dinner, maybe you're working with your family and starting to look at different old prompts from the Common Application. Maybe you're looking at old prompts that are sent by your school counselor. Maybe some of you in your junior year actually started writing a college essay. That's awesome. That's great. And because there are 3 steps to the college application process. Number 1, the college application, starting out and figuring out what exactly what is required from each and every one of your colleges and universities, of which, if you guys have joined us for any one of our application Friday Fun Facts, you guys already kind of have an idea of deadlines and things along those lines. The second part of that is the campus visit and how important it is and how important the campus visit is to your college search. Right now, Mount St. Mary's University does offer Tuesdays and Thursday visits in the morning and afternoon. We've done that from June 1 all the way until present day. We're going to do that all the way until August, as we're inviting families to come and see our campus, right? Come and check out the Mount, and see if you can actually picture yourself here on a college campus. Is this exactly where you see yourself? And then the third one is paying for college, the financial aid portion. But today, I'm going to be talking about this portion right here, the college application. But it's optional, right? Of course, right? So the college application, you can see on a lot of colleges and universities that you might be looking at, it might be saying, well, it's optional. You can submit an optional essay to us for review. Should you do it? Right, of course you should, because it's optional, but it helps us admissions counselors tell a deeper story, right? Maybe for a lot of you, this is the first time that I've interacted with you. And of course, I'm only seeing black screens today, so I don't really know who is who. But I'm able to really talk more about or get to know who you are by you completing that college essay. There's no perfect essay. In my time at the Mount, I've never read a 100% absolutely this is the best thing that I've ever read in my entire life. I've had some really good essays and some really great essays by students who have told their story in an effective way, but there's no good way to start an essay or a perfect essay topic, right? And we're going to go along of what you should be writing about, how you should be answering those questions later on. But just so you guys know that there's no perfect topic to talk about in a college essay. As long as you effectively answer the question that is being asked on all of our applications, that's the most important thing. And if you have questions about that, go ahead and put those questions in our chat function so I can answer those later on. So let's get down to it, right? Crafting the essay. I always see this SpongeBob meme all over the internet, right? It's hefty, it's tough, and we're gonna get through it together because now you have professional eyes. So in a book that I read, last fall, was Simon Sinek's "Start with Why," right? And that is talking about the golden circle method. On your right-hand side of this presentation, you guys can actually see why, how, and what in 3 separate and different sized circles. Simon Sinek says that if you start with why, if you start from inside here in this inside circle, you're going to be able to answer a lot more and do more things effectively. So start with why. A lot of students I talk to will say, I want to major in business. And I say, okay, why do you want to major in business? Well, students want to major in business and they want to do it. Maybe they want to concentrate in entrepreneurship. That's awesome. They want to start their own business whenever they get out of college. Perfect. How are they going to do it? They're going to get a 4-year degree here at the Mount. They're going to have one-on-one advising. They're going to take classes that are pertaining to entrepreneurship, and they're going to have maybe an internship with a self-starting or an entrepreneur already themselves. That's kind of interesting, and that's the how of it. That's the why of it. That's the how of it. Now, what are they going to do about it? They're going to put forth effort. They're going to put forth everything over the course of their 4 years to make sure that the quality of education, not just in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom, is personable. It relates to the things that they want to do. I'm currently sitting here today over Zoom with you guys because I was a college tour guide. So in college, I worked with high school students as they visited campus, and I took them around, and I actually discovered a passion of my own. What I was passionate about was talking with high school students about the college process, helping students get from point A to point B. And that's why I'm here, right? And so that's sort of the why you want to identify. Why this major? Why this college? More often than not, for many of my rising juniors here, you guys are just starting your college search process, and you guys have heard about Mount St. Mary's through ads on your social media. Maybe you've received a lot of emails from us. I imagine that's the one, right? But why do you want to study this college? Maybe you already go to a Catholic high school, or maybe you understand that the benefits of a small campus, a small class size, a small student to faculty ratio is something that you know that in an environment that you can learn in. So why this college? And then the final question is, why college? Why do you want to go into college? Why do you want to start a 4-year degree? 4 years, that's a presidential term, right? Why do you want to spend the next 4 years at a college or university studying and being in the classroom? And those are the questions that you want to start with. So this is actually a slide that I added because usually whenever I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about it in a global pandemic, right? So should I write about COVID-19 in my college essay? So I'm going to ask you another question by saying, answer the question of why. Why are you writing about this? Are you writing about it because you faced unique challenges during this time? Did you have to pick up a part-time job and also balance online learning? Did you find time to explore a passion or create a hobby? I have a ton of friends who, over the course of not only working from home, also developed their own short or small business. I have a friend who now designs like really cool crafted earrings and bracelets, and she sells them on Etsy. And that's what she was doing with her free time. With me, and just personally for me, I was able to take time and concentrate on my other passions, right? I love to hike. I love to go outdoors. And so you were able to take a lot of time and kind of rediscover passions about yourself. And did COVID allow you to do that? Or did you face some really tough hardships? Tell me about those. Tell your story. At the very end of the day, as college admissions counselors are looking over your applications, they're looking for you to tell your story in a way that not a lot of other students do. I will ask you to shy away from talking about a global pandemic if nothing true, if you sat and really binged watch Netflix all the time. Um, and that's what you used your COVID for. Well, I had to stay inside and it was really hard. I know it was really hard, but like, and it was hard for a lot of people. And so if you don't, if you didn't discover something or you didn't do something within this pandemic, and it's okay if you didn't, you don't have to write about this. But let's move on to the opening sentence, right? How should you grab the attention of your admissions counselor? Number one, this is actually comes from a student that I actually read last year. People are not born successful. They sweat for it. Life is full of obstacles and it loves to hit you hard. That's the opening sentence of a student's essay. And for me, as I'm reading that, I'm like, okay, I know in the next 3-4 paragraphs, the student's going to take me on a ride of why did life hit him hard or her hard, and why did they have to sweat for it? What were they doing? Another opening sentence that really caught my eye was, if you told me 5 years ago that I would be applying and wanting to go to college, I wouldn't believe you. In that opening line, I already know that she's starting with her why. I know that she's going to take me down a path to say that 5 years ago, college wasn't even a thing for me. It wasn't even an idea, but now this is why it is. And those kind of questions and that personal development that she's going to tell me over time is super important, and it helps me to stay engaged with the student. Now, when I asked my director, I said, what was your favorite essay that you read over the last like 2 or 3 years? And he actually sent me this. This is their opening line. Beans, a type of food we pick from the shelves at the grocery store in bags. Beans, a type of food we eat at dinner. Beans, a type of food my father carried in a backpack for 2 weeks in a village outside of Guatemala City in order to make a living wage and bring back to my grandparents. Now here I am, backpacking, full of textbooks and a Chromebook, on my way to school Monday through Friday for 180 days. For the last 13 years, working towards the American dream I dare to go after. That's pretty good, right? That immediately you take something so simple, right? And you can obviously see that it's been edited. He's bolded, the student has bolded the key word of beans here in an American dream. And already I know that I'm going to be taken on a ride of maybe the student's time coming from, or their family coming from Guatemala City to the United States. And that's a really amazing story that tells me this is why the student is motivated. This is why the student wants to come to my university or to university in general. So I have another student who I read last year who really started with their why, right? And you guys are going to be able to read this. This says, the history teachers I've had all been beacons of learning, wisdom, and inspiration. And those always push my curiosity and knowledge further than I would have ever been able to do on my own. They have instilled such a desire to learn more about history, even more specifically military history, that I want to become a teacher. Already, you see that? You see that in that sentence? I want to become a teacher, so I can inspire more students to learn and chase their passions. That's why. That's why the student wants to become a teacher. My teachers and role models have all created a culture in which I can forge a lifelong passion and help to do the same he hopes to do the same for others. That's awesome. And so this last paragraph just talks about how one day when he's writing a research paper, he picks up a book on a historical book on the Battle of Iwo Jima in World War II, and that all of a sudden sparks his curiosity for military history and for research, and to become a teacher like his teachers have been positive influences on him. Here's one last one, guys. I believe everything happens for a reason. My life has led me up to this point where I thought I would never be. I will continue to push to do my best, and I believe I can do this and more by earning a college degree. I want to grow, learn, and achieve, and I hope I have the opportunity to do so at your school and leave as a guide to others my legacy of growth, perseverance, and self-discovery. So this student answers the why they want to go to college, why college in general, to get a degree and to grow, and then to leave a legacy, growth, perseverance, and self-discovery. This student wants to motivate, much like she was motivated, other students to go to college and realize what comes next for her in the next few years. It's pretty awesome. Other things that I hope that you guys will shy away from during this process is oversharing. And what do I mean by that? For a lot of you, this is the first time that we are talking here, and I don't know your full entire life story. Your story, your personal story is the most sacred to you. And it's you who has to be willing to share that story with me. But also knowing too that it's so important that the things that happen to you, you have to keep them safe within yourself until you know that you're ready to share them in an effective way. The other thing too is losing your voice. Obviously, I can, after reading about 1,500 applications, I know when it sounds like it's written by a 17 or 18-year-old because, spoiler alert, it's supposed to be. But I can also tell whenever it's been edited by school counselors, by English teachers, by parents to tell me what I want to hear. And it's not so much what I want to hear, but as much as I want you to tell what is true to you and what is your truth. And so I encourage you absolutely, because we love essays that are grammatically correct, that have the opportunity, for students who have the opportunity to write their own story, and share those with your school counselors, share those with your English teachers, share them with your parents. But also keep in mind that you don't want to lose your voice, because an admissions counselor will know if or when it's not written by a 17 or 18-year-old student. Also, links to the cloud. Do not send me hyperlinks in your college essay. This is what happens. A student sends me their application. I read it. I read it digitally, and you guys can see that I actually pulled up what I actually see on my screen when a student sends me a link. I cannot copy and paste those links into YouTube, so I can't see that. Nor do I have the time reading about 1,100 applications each year to watch every single highlight video, every single YouTube video that a student might share with me. Now, if you want to, in their application process, because again, with early action deadlines, we're reading probably about 900 or 800 and 900 applications before December 25th. And so if you and I, reach out to me. If you have something special that you want to talk to me about, send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a call, and let's go over it. Let me see it, together when I have a little bit more time, but not in your college application. It's going to mean more to me if I see it in an email than if I see it in your application, because I don't have the time whenever I'm reading applications to go and see every single hyperlink in your application essay. So what will your story be? How will you tell your story? And what's your story truly, and what is your story truly about? And we're all really, really excited to see what your essay is going to be about. But if you want my advice, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde said that, and so did I. Michael Scott. Thank you guys very much. Again, I've been Grant Henry, one of the assistant directors of admissions. Here's my contact information right here for you. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I know that we have plenty of time for questions, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to go and allow you guys to talk with me. What questions, comments, concerns do you guys have? Again, if you guys have questions, go ahead and just write them here in the chat function. I'll be able to go through them. Yeah, absolutely. I will go ahead and put my email in the chat. All right, folks, I'll give you a few minutes to, oh, okay. I have read a lot on websites that you have to be a storyteller. Do you have any tips to better tell your story? I think it works best, Emerson. Thanks a lot for the question. I think it works best for students when you tell your story. A lot of students will start with this. It began like any other day. 9 o'clock in the morning. I was on the way to school. And we read them like that. If it's so dramatic like that, we read them like that. But it is important to be a storyteller, but in a way that obviously like we just said, we read about 900 essays in the span of 3 months. So in a way that's different, right? I've had students who have written their college essay like a play. I've had students who have written their college essay like it was a Stephen King novel. And I think it's whatever fits your mold best, right? And so that's sort of my advice for you, Emerson, is if you can, try to think of a moment in time. Think about this. 2 years ago, we had an application essay topic that was, what is your favorite form of social media? What's your favorite one? And we had students who wrote Facebook, because my grandmother has Facebook and she lives 2 hours away. It's the only way that we can stay connected. And so when she likes my pictures, I know that, but they told me the story of like how they grew up in a small farm town 2 hours away from their family members. Wow, or extended family members. Wow, okay, so already I know. And she said, well, over Christmas, we got my grandma an iPad. And when we got her iPad, we downloaded Facebook. And this was the way that we were able to keep in contact with our grandparents. That's awesome. That's great, right? So being able to tell a story in that way is a huge thing. I have another question here. How long should the essay be? So I would recommend anywhere between 500 and 700 words, letters. 500 and 700 words is probably the best. If you can get it to, less than a page and a half, that's awesome. Because a lot of the times we see essays that are 3 pages long, and like I said, we read 800 to 900 applications within the last 3 months, and all of them have essays. And so we want to know, we're going to read it. We're going to read it, but we have to make sure that we can have time to read and really take note of everything that you're writing here. So I think telling it effectively between 500 and 700 words is really good. Thanks, Abby. Connor, is the application up for Rising Seniors? So it is not. So our application will go live in August, the first week of August. It'll go online for any student who has received interest or has sent interest in us. We're going to show interest in you. So we're going to send you a free application in your email the first week of August. So if you guys so be sure to keep an eye out on the email that you used to sign up for this, because this is the email that we're going to be contacting you with about that. Thanks, Connor. The essays you read, are essays read as you receive them, or are they read in the turn-in deadline? So that's a good question. So when you complete your application, so that's sending me your transcripts, letters of recommendation, your online application, and your optional SAT or ACT scores. When you submit that, your application is ready for review, and that's whenever I read that application. It goes straight into my box, like my inbox, and then I'm able to read it. We don't start reviewing applications until like mid-September, so that just allowing us to have a process and everything along those lines. So the essay is read whenever you complete your online application. Good question. Do you have any demo essay questions? So I do not, but actually, if you guys go online to Common App, to the Common App, they will actually have old previous Common Application questions that they have for you. And you guys can actually, and even if you just Google like college essay prompts, I had a student who I worked with at a college essay workshop last year, actually in Virginia, and she was Googling these like different these essay prompts, and she found one that really resonated with her, and it was the the book or the autobiography of your life is 400 pages long. You've just opened the page to 296. Write the next 4 pages of your autobiography. And she actually wrote her essay or her like draft essay on like, well, when I first entered 9th grade, and she related entering high school to the next step, which is entering college as a freshman. So entering high school as a freshman and first year student, or entering college as a first year student. And that's awesome, right? And that was probably one of the best essays that I read last year, because you could tell that it's in her story that she was anxious, and just like then and now, she's anxious to start this next step, but she knows that it's going to be all right because she has taken the time to figure out what she wants to do, or so on and so forth, right? So that's a good question, Lizzie. Thank you. Is the college essay we are talking about a part of the application questions or separate? It is a supplemental. It's a supplemental part of our essay, or of our application. So at the very end of the application, you'll be able to upload your essay. And so that's kind of how it works. Even on the Common Application as well, the Common App requires the essay to be written. So you will submit that and upload that whenever you're completing your online application. Good question, Abby. Mark Livingston asks, would writing about my gold award be a good topic? So can you give me some clarification on what a gold award is, Mark? And do we offer dual enrollment? We do offer dual enrollment to students, but we accept dual enrollment courses. So anything over a C or better, if you go to a local community college, or you take college level classes at a different high school, or at a different college, a nearby college at your high school, that's also something that we offer. But Mark, can you give me some clarification on the Gold Award? While you're doing that, it's there's so many things that you can write about, and if you have ever received an award for character, like I'm a former Eagle Scout, so like my college essay was not about receiving the Eagle Scout award, but more about how my Eagle Scout project, which was actually renovating and preserving an old cemetery. So I did a cemetery restoration project, and that actually inspired me to do more with history, because I was like, wow, like look at all of these headstones in the cemetery of people who were almost forgotten if we hadn't come and submitted all of this materials to historical societies in the local area. And so being able to talk about that and talking about your experience receiving it, or what you did to receive it, is really, really awesome. And so that I would encourage you to do that if you wanted to talk about receiving some sort of an award. All right, folks. Well, it doesn't seem like I have any more questions, so I just want to say thank you guys all very much for tuning in today. I had a lot of fun, and I hope that you guys did too. If you guys have questions, please feel free to, Mark, yes, it's the, okay, so hold on. Sorry, folks. It looks like we have more questions here. Yes, so if you exactly, the Gold Award for GSA, you absolutely would be able to tell me more about that. Right? Tell me more about your experience receiving that. Did you have to do a project? Absolutely. Those are some cool things. And also anything with scouting is beneficial to write in your college application, because it's a very unique experience to a lot of other things. So good question. If I'm really interested in the Mount, is it better for me to submit the Mount application instead of the Common App? It is. So there's no preference, right? We have no preference which way you choose to apply to our university. We have our own separate application, but it's not going to affect you one way or the other if you are not if you're not submitting our application. If you want to, though, I mean, one of the things that can be beneficial for that is that your essay is more tailored specific to the Mount, and it'll help us see that you understand why you're applying to a college or university like us, and instead of, because when you submitted an essay through the Common Application, you want to put, university, college. You don't want to say a specific college or university because you submit it to every single one of those colleges that you're applying to through the Common App. So we have no preference. If you choose to submit the Mount application, that's awesome. If you do not, there's no harm or foul in submitting to the Common App, because the Common App can sometimes be easier for you, and both ways that you apply are free for you as a student. Good question, Will. All right, folks. Well, it does seem like there aren't any other questions. If you guys have any more additional questions, my email is here in the chat function. My name has been Grant Henry. I've had a great time being with you guys all today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to send me an email, give me a call, shoot me a text, do whatever you guys need to do. But thank you guys all so much, and go Mount!